Oh no! Alright, hello exiles. I wanted to make a beginner's guide to an instacker because I looked for some resources online whilst building my instacker right here, and I couldn't really find anything. So yeah, I want to just put a video out there for anyone that wants to make an instacker themselves. I will try to respond to any questions in the comments, but I'll try to be as thorough as possible in this guide. First of all, we're gonna explain what is an instacker, what is an attribute stacker. We're gonna explain why would you do that, and how would you do that. Then I'm gonna go over the items, the gem links, the skill tree. We're gonna hop over into POB. I'll show you some stuff there. The POB section is pretty important, especially when it comes to our effective hit pull and how we're calculating our damage. So I do recommend you check that out if you're going to skip some places. And then I'm going to show you how to craft 2 pieces of gear that we have here. I'm going to put timestamps in the description, so if you want to skip to a certain part of the video, you can do that. But if you don't have experience with stacking an attribute, I do recommend you watch through the entire video. We're going into some complicated stuff, so let me preface by saying, 1, if you are a beginner in Path of Exile and you don't have a good grasp of the core concept of the game, like the skill tree, like path of building, like crafting, do not try this build. It's important to balance a lot of stuff in this build, and without the general knowledge of Path of Exile, you're gonna have a very bad time. Trust me, I tried this 2 leagues ago when I didn't have the knowledge. It was horrible. So yeah. And 2, this is not budget friendly. This is a fairly cheap version of the build, but you will pump so much currency into this build. But I think that's wonderful. You can incrementally upgrade it constantly, so yeah. Okay, so let's start off with what is an attribute stacker. Generally, an attribute stacker wants to get one of these 3 numbers as high as possible. We want to do that to utilize certain interactions, uniques, certain items to work as well as possible. For strength, that would be replica Alberons that give chaos damage. For dexterity, that would be Iron Commander. And for us in stackers, it's the wand that gives us lightning damage per 10 intelligence and increased spell damage per 16 intelligence. You don't really need to go sky high with your intelligence. I'm at 1,200. You can get to like 1,600 decently, but the more and more intelligence you try to get, the more and more you have to invest. So yeah, you have to hit that balance of high enough int and good enough currency flow, if you get my drift. With the current build here, I have 49,000 evasion rating. That's without flasks. Of course, if I pop my flask, I am at 90% chance to evade. So yeah, we are at 79% spell suppression chance with our quartz flask, and without flasks we are elemental resistant. And of course we're chaos inoculation, so we're immune to chaos damage. One thing I want to preface before starting talking about the items is resistances are very hard to come by on this build. You will see I have some items here that are not really necessary to run, like my gloves. You don't really need gloves like these. It's just good to have them. You can swap these out for like some int suppression resistance gloves to cap your resistances. do not focus on getting this as high as possible before you get your resistances capped without flasks. I would say that is one of the most important parts of this build and one of the warnings that I can heed you right now. So yeah, let's start talking about the items, starting off with the most mandatory item, what we need to actually run this build. Like I said before, we're going to go over the crafting later, but generally you get the 2 mods, lightning damage with attacks with this weapon per 10 intelligence, and increased spell damage per 16 intelligence, and that allows you to start running the build. So now we understand what allows us to utilize the intelligence stacking part of our build, but how do we actually get there? Well, generally it's just a bunch of int on all of our gear. Let's start off with these gloves. These are pseudo 7 link gloves. I followed a guide from a wonderful content creator. I'm gonna put his name right on the screen right here. Please go subscribe to him and go check out the video. I'm gonna link it down in the description on how to craft these gloves. These are very cheap to craft, very easy. Now let's go over to the Hubris Circlet. This is basically resistance, intelligence, and a bunch of ES. I already bought the Fractured mod. It shouldn't be that expensive, of course. Item level 85, and just hit these with deafening essence of spite until you hit high ES or like good resistances, whatever you need. I have mana reservation efficiency and reduced mana cost here because I am utilizing 5 auras at once. I want as much mana reservation as possible. Let's quickly go over our body armor. We're using Replica Hyri's Ire simply because it gives us a bunch of intelligence, it gives us evasion rating, and it gives us a bunch of chance to suppress spell damage. Spell damage is very hard to come by on this build, so that's why we love Replica Hyri's Ire here. It also gives us lightning damage to added lightning damage with wand attacks. But yeah, we're mostly here for the chance to suppress spell damage and int. Let's quickly go over the amulet and belt. So belt, both of these are synthesized bases with 15% increased intelligence. Slammed a bunch of essences on spite on this one and hit lightning resistance with a free suffix, so I just crafted cold resistance. That is literally it. All of the prefixes here are ass, so we do not care about it. For our amulet, we have, of course, synthesized increased intelligence implicit. We have intelligence. It's just deafening essences of spite. I hit tier 1 increased spell damage on it, so I'm just using that. Spell damage is wonderful on this build. I'm going to explain it whilst I explain the links in this build and what skills are we using. But yeah, spell damage is wonderful. Do I recommend doing this? If you're struggling for resistances, no. Focus on getting resistances. You can just grab a bunch of deafening essences of spite and spam this until you get a bunch of resistances. Do not focus on the spell damage. If you get spell damage with it, it's wonderful. But I didn't. I settled for this. I'm probably going to recraft this at a later date, but yeah. We're anointing Tranquility here, which gives us, of course, increased max energy shield, but it gives us Transfiguration of Souls, so increases and reductions to maximum energy shield also apply to spell damage at 30% of their value. Now let's go over the rings real quick. First, Chevron's Revelation, we're putting it in the left ring slot. It just gives us a bunch of energy shield, and that's what we care about. We don't care about energy shield regen, because we're Life Leech, we're Trickster. I'm going to explain in a bit. But yeah, a bunch of energy shield. And I'm using just a simple ruby ring with a bunch of resistances. The only thing I care about on this ring is resistances. As I said before, resistance is very hard to come by. So yeah, I use this ring. I love this ring. I'm going to keep using this ring. yeah. And of course, the most generic combo you are gonna see this league is Relocation Patience with Malachi's Loop. Relocation Patience gives us count as having maximum number of power charges. This is just general. You are always at max power charges. And it gives us increased movement speed and cold resistance. I have a +1 level of socketed gems here. This is important to get us in lane 4. I'm going to explain it more when we get to the links part. And of course, Malachi's Loop. It has a bunch of energy shield spell damage. It gives us +2 to maximum power charges. Wonderful. And it gives us 16% increased spell damage per power charge. So yeah, it is wonderful. And we do not care about the downside of Malachi's Loop, because we never actually reach maximum power charges. We are just always at maximum. Okay, we got through the items. Let's go over the links. What are we using? Well, first let's start off with the creme de la creme, our single target damage skill. And the reason why we stuck a bunch of spell damage on this build. It is Kinetic Bolt of Fragmentation. Kinetic Bolt of Fragmentation has a very nice line which says increases and reductions to spell damage also apply to attack damage from this skill at 250% of their value. So as you see, we take all of the spell damage that we get, we multiply it by 250%, and that's the damage that gets increased with this Kinetic Bolt of Fragmentation. It is absolutely wonderful. It deals a bunch of damage. In the POB section later, you're gonna see it. I believe it does 48 million damage right now. The way how we calculate Kinetic Bolt of Fragmentation is very weird, so the number is very ballpark, but it gives us a good idea of the damage that we can do. We are linking this with Energy Leech. This is just good quality of life. More damage while on full energy shield, and while leeching energy shield, we are basically always full. We have so much leech, and we are always leeching because of the Trickster overleech. So yeah. Awaken elemental damage with attacks, just more elemental damage. The cannot be reflected part is also good, but you know. Volatility, just very good. More damage link right here. Returning projectiles. The way Kinetic Bolt of Fragmentation works. The way Kinetic Bolt of Fragmentation works is, let's say Lily is an enemy. We want to stand right here and attack right here. Actually, we would probably be a lot closer. Yeah, like right here, and we would attack Lily right here. So yeah, we want all of those fragments to hit right there. Once we get into that sweet spot, we do so much damage that it is actually unethical. So yeah, that's where we're also running returning projectiles. It just gives us more hits on the enemy. And final, increased critical damage support. This is a bunch of crit everywhere, so, and of course power charges, which give us crit strike chance. So yeah, critical damage is wonderful. Now let's go over our clear skill. Our Kinetic Blast, of course, we're supporting it with Energy Leech, as I explained before. Wonderful. Volatility, great damage link, and greater multiple projectiles. I really like it. I really like having a bunch of projectiles fly everywhere. Yeah. You can use a different skill gem here. I just feel like GMP is wonderful. And of course, because of the gloves that we have, we're also Kinetic Blast is also linked with faster attacks, faster projectiles, and it has 70% to crit strike multi. For our 50% auras, we're running Grace, Wrath, and Haste, and we're linking it to an Enlightened 3, which gets boosted by the +1 level of socketed gems to Enlightened 4. which just gives us more RMR, and we can run our 50% auras and 2 more general auras. Speaking of, let's go to these. I'm running Precision and Dread Banner. Dread Banner is simply for the accuracy here. Impale effect is fine. Oh, we don't really care about it, but you know. Precision, just crit strike chance. It's wonderful. We love it. I'm linking it to Enlighten 3, just so I have more damage here. And Sigil of Power. I put it down sometimes. I sometimes don't. I don't really see a difference here. Maybe if you're fighting like some big bosses, but you know. Here we have shield charge and faster attacks. It allows us to go zoom. Without shield charge, this build is pretty good with clear, but the moment you incorporate shield charge into it, you go so fast. Do not sleep on shield charge. Get used to shield charging everywhere. And over here we have Sniper's Mark linked to Mark on hit. Generally, if you're fighting a boss, I do not recommend running Mark on hit. Just mark the enemy yourself, because reduced effective marks, we don't really want that. We deal less damage if we got that, so yeah. But I use Mark on hit for just some quality of life. And Flame Dash here, whenever we can't get over something, yeah, we just Flame Dash real quick. Alright, links are done. Let's quickly go over the flasks. I'm running a Jade Flask, a bunch of evasion rating here. We really want evasion rating here. That's part of the reason why we're tanky, so yeah. Onslaught, it's wonderful. Here is 20% more evasion rating, and we have increased attack speed on this. Attack speed is also wonderful on this build, so yeah. Quartz Flask for the chance to suppress spell damage. We have reduced effective curses. I really like reduced effective curses. I do recommend running this. And the 5th Flask slot is a bit flexible. This is a good Mage Blood build, in my opinion. You can run Dying Sun. You can run Bottled Faith. I ran Taste of Hate earlier. Yeah, this is really flexible. Just whatever you want here. I'm currently running Dying Sun because I really like seeing Kinetic Blast firing this many projectiles. Okay, so now that we're done with the general information, our items, links, let's head over to Path of Building to look at the skill tree, our jewels, some calculations, and some very spicy explanations. So yeah, let's go. So yeah, welcome to Path of Building. I'm going to explain the skill tree, the jewels that we're using, and generally why we pick certain stuff. I'm going to go over every single wheel that we grab here, just so you understand why we grab it, what it gives us. And I'm also going to explain why we're grabbing Trickster. So yeah, let us start with that. We're grabbing Trickster simply because Trickster is tanky as fuck. It is hard to explain how tanky Trickster is. The evasion rating and energy shield we get here is wonderful. This is also why we're using Replica High Desire. It gives us a bunch of evasion rating, which we are then converting into energy shield. So yeah, it's wonderful. But this node, Soul Drinker, it gives us damage leeches energy shield, increased attack and cast speed while we're leeching, and it gives us overleech, which is absolutely wonderful. This makes it so energy leech is, well, one of the best gems we can put in our links. Then we have One Step Ahead. This is just great for our action speed being at 108% of base value, and nearby enemy monsters action speed is at most 92% of base value. This helps with some of the mobs, if you're like empowering with wisps and such. Some of the mobs can get really fast, like Soul Eater and stuff like that, so this helps limit that and helps you survive a lot with it. This is just more damage per mastery, recover energy shield and mana on kill for each different mastery you have allocated. As you see, this gives us 11 million DPS. But you might be asking yourself, you're saying that this build is tanky. You're looking at me. You come to me on my daughter's wedding and you say that this build is tanky. But you look over here and you see the effective hit pool is only 48,000, yeah. The Fizz max hit is only 7,000. What are you talking about? Tanky. This is not a tanky build. Wrong. I do not understand what's happening with path of building here, but generally speaking, I would not look at this as your main form of tankiness, at least on this build. I was also very skeptical when looking at this, but playing in-game, it is absolutely wonderful. You're probably seeing some footage right now on screen of me clearing a T16 empowered with wisps and stuff like that. As you see, it's pretty fucking tanky. So yeah, let's go over the tree, starting from the very beginning. We're gonna go over every single wheel that we're grabbing. So this might be very in-depth. You might not need this, but you know. Attack speed, intelligence. It speaks for itself. Grabbing this wheel for the mana reservation, an increased effect. Grabbing this elemental wheel, we have some Ellie pen here, and hits have 25% chance to treat enemy monster elemental resistance values as inverted. As you see, this gives us 9 million full DPS, so it's pretty good. I really recommend grabbing this wheel. Grab this for attacks, fire, and additional projectile. I go down here, I grab this entire wheel with the chance to suppress spell damage is lucky, simply because I am not capped on spell suppression. If you want to cap yourself on, if you are capped on spell suppression, I recommend grabbing prevent plus 3% of suppressed spell damage. But if you're not, grab the suppressed spell damage is lucky. Here we're grabbing the mark wheel for increased damage and reduce accuracy rating of marked enemy. That is wonderful for survivability. So yeah, grab this. Accuracy wheel here, we're grabbing the accuracy and the accuracy mastery. Gain accuracy rating equal to your intelligence. This just lets us cap our hit chance. We will never miss. So yeah, it's wonderful. Grab it. Of course, +1 power charge. Since we're here, let me explain. I have a Forbidden Flesh and Forbidden Flame, allocating Deadly Infusion. Since we have a bunch of power charges, grabbing Deadly Infusion, it gives us +5% to critical strike multiplier per power charge. So that is a lot of crit multi, 35%. And plus 1.5% critical strike chance while at maximum power charges. We are always at maximum power charges, so we always have this critical strike chance. As you see, this gives us 11.43% crit strike chance. So yeah, it is wonderful. In total, it gives us almost 8 million DPS. So yeah, grab it. Ghost Dance is wonderful. Cannot recover energy shield above evasion rating. That is fine. We have a bunch of evasion ratings, so that doesn't matter. But when hit, lose a Ghost Shroud to recover energy shield equal to 3% of your evasion rating. So yeah, grab this for survivability. We're grabbing this evasion wheel for just a bunch of more evasion rating and energy shield, plus energy shield recovery. And we grab this mastery, which gives us 1% increased evasion rating per 5 intelligence. We're grabbing Ghost Reaver simply because we do not care about energy recharge rate. Remember, we're also using Shavron's Revelation, meaning we cannot recharge a regen energy shield. So yeah, we're just doubling the leech, which means doubling the survivability of our build. This is a giga keystone to grab. I'm grabbing the leech node here for just a bunch of energy shield leech, and 10% of leech is instant. This is also gigantic survivability. So yeah, great to grab. Of course, we're Chaos Inoculation. We have a bunch of Energy Shield, a bunch of survivability on it. Why not be Chaos Immune? Grabbing this wheel for mana reservation and increased effect of auras. We're also grabbing the Mastery for increased effect of auras on me. I grabbed this over here for our Watcher's Eye. The only relevant mod here is damage penetrates 13% lightning res while affected by Wrath. I really recommend that you get this mod. It doesn't have to have any like other useful mods on it, but the lightning pen is really good on this build. So yeah, grab it, thank me later. If you can get this with evasion chance while affected by grace, then it's really good just to easily cap out your evasion. In this wheel, it's just a bunch of attack speed, accuracy, crit strike, crit multi, and of course increase wand damage per power charge. Wand attacks fire an additional projectile. Speaks for itself. It's wonderful. I'm grabbing this attribute wheel here. It's just a bunch of intelligence and percent increased intelligence with 5% increased attributes. Going over here, grabbing the power charge. Here we have a jewel. It just caps out my resistances. If we go here and turn off, this flask also gives me LE res. So yeah, if we turn off that, as you see, I'm very low on resistances. If I turn that off, I am not capped with fire res and lightning res. So this jewel is wonderful for me. You might be capped with items that you have on your build, so you can put in a different jewel here, maybe a damage jewel or something like that. And also this gives us CB immunity, which is wonderful. You don't like dying to bleeds. I don't like dying to bleed, so yeah, grab CB immunity. Going over here, we have, of course, mana int, but we care about the mana mastery, which gives us reservation efficiency of skills. Great, lets us run 5 auras. Here we're grabbing the minimum power charges and damage per power charge with the mastery, 3% increased damage per power charge. It's wonderful. Energy shield wheel here, just grabbing it for more ES. We do get a +1 to maximum lightning res, which is pretty nice, and also the energy shield mastery, which gives us 100% increased energy shield from equipped helmet, which in our case gives us 630 energy shield simply from this mastery. This wand wheel, we're going down here for the LE pen, of course grabbing that. And this gives us increases and reductions to spell damage, also apply to attacks while wielding a wand. Now here, I gotta explain, because you might remember that on Kinetic Bolt of Fragmentation, we already have this mod. We have actually a better version of it at 250%. We only grabbed this mastery for our Kinetic Blast. The Kinetic Blast, the clear skill that we saw, we only grab it for this. Kinetic Blast is also an attack skill, so we want to boost the damage of Kinetic Blast as much as possible. As you see right now with Kinetic Blast, we're doing about 1 million hit DPS. That is with Onslaught off. So yeah, 1 million hit DPS. Thanks to this. Taking this off, we're doing half of that. And finally, we go over here to our large cluster jewel. I just had this cluster jewel. It had Storm Drinker on it, which has Lightning Pen and Energy Shield Leech, which is wonderful for us. So I kept this, and we have a split personality and a split personality. This one gives us Dex Int. I really like the Dexterity because we were running We're running a bunch of skills that require high amounts of dex. Let's see, 159, 155 here. So yeah, I really like having the dexterity, taking it off. I have something that requires 197 dexterity, so yeah, having this jewel here is wonderful. And the split personality, int and maximum energy shield. Ideally this would be int and strength, because certain skill gems that I have here, like Dread Banner, are level 10. Also my shield charge, level 12. I would really like to boost that higher, but you know, those are too expensive and I don't want to spend money on that. So yeah, that is the tree. Let's quickly hop on over to the skills, because what you may see is that I have 2 counts of kinetic bolt fragmentation here, pulling into full DPS. Generally speaking, I found this on a YouTube video that was also talking about a KB instacker on how to calculate the DPS on kinetic bolt of fragmentation. I'm gonna put the content creator's name on screen right now, and also a link to that video in the description. It also goes into a cheaper version of this build if you want to run that. It is a wonderful video. I found out about it after making my instacker, which hurt. That would be really helpful, but yeah, I really recommend checking out that video. But basically it says you have 2 copies of kinetic bolt of fragmentation. The first copy at count of 5. This counts for our projectiles that we are shooting out. And then we go to the projectiles that split. We put 30 in here just as like a ballpark of our splitting, and we turn off volatility. With volatility, as you see, it goes to the fucking moon. But this is a good general ballpark of where our damage is. So yeah, from what I've seen, what I've tested, this number is accurate. So yeah, so let's go over the configuration real quick, what I'm using. Major Minor God, Brine King, Garukon. Yeah, we're basically always on full energy shield. Unchecking and checking these doesn't do anything. I just like having them checked because of Rallication's impatience. It's already accounted for. Are we leeching energy shield? Yes we are. We always are. Clicking this doesn't do anything, so yeah. Projectile travel distance, I put 1 here because we're inside the asshole of this guy, this enemy we're fighting, and of course we're shocking with our damage, and I just put in 10 effective shock as a general ballpark, and of course Guardian Pinnacle boss. Hey, quick interim. I'm gonna show you how to craft the wand. What you want is a imbued wand with hunter influence. What you're gonna do is take it and just alt spam it for like 40 minutes to an hour, because that's what my luck is. And what you're hoping is to hit one of these 2 mods. Let's say we hit the per 16 intelligence mod. Oops, sorry. Per 16 intelligence mod. We have a one like this. Then you would grab your shaper wand. You would do the same until you hit this mod, the per 10 int mod. Once you have those 2 items, you're gonna take an awakener orb. You're gonna click one wand and then the other. This is gonna create an item like this, let's say. So yeah, this is a great example. Let's say you have an item like this. At this situation, there isn't really anything you can do because you really want the empty prefix. So you're just gonna YOLO annul until you hit the free prefix. In our case, it's this one. So our prefixes are just going to be the per int mods. Then in this case, you can also do prefix to suffix, but we don't want to fill our suffixes because we want to craft prefixes cannot be changed. We're going to scour it. Prefixes cannot be changed again. Then we're going to grab a ashling unveil, hit it, veiled suffix. That's good too. You can get some good mods here. But generally, like, you know, crit multi, that's good. Generally, I would hope for a veiled prefix. There we go. Damn, that didn't want to hit. So yeah, veiled prefix. You can do cannot roll caster, but that isn't really blocking anything. I would just YOLO unveil and hope you hit the Ellie pen. Once you get this, you're extremely happy. You're gonna can have 3 crafted mods. You're gonna craft attack speed. And finally, you're gonna craft the strength int critical strike chance. And there you go, you have my wand. Easy craft. Yeah, cheers. So yeah, if you want to check this POB out, it will be in the description. I am gonna be playing this character, I believe, for the rest of the league. I'm gonna try to pump as much currency as I can into this character. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I am always happy to answer any questions you might have. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.